Hi, this is William Allen with my Module 12 case study for EDL 854, Building Finance. A study looking at the relationship between foundations and schools. So first off, to establish some of the facts of the case. So the main players that were involved were myself, Mr. Santos, principal of Briardale Elementary. Also involved is a new parent to the district, Mr. Barely, who is also the newly appointed president of the Briardale Foundation. And some more minor characters that were involved were president of another elementary school that's part of the district, Mr. Morley, who has a history with Mr. Barely, and the whistleblower that informed the sheriff of the illegal happenings. So where and when did this take place? It all centered around Briardale Elementary. K through 5, they serve about 600 students. In the district, there's 6 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and a high school. Overall, it seems like a pretty nice district. It has a low turnover as far as staff and teachers. The parental support is very high, especially with the supplemental curriculum that they have been getting for the school in the past years. Excuse me, and it all goes south the night of the raffle drawing. So what exactly occurred? The foundation appointed Mr. Barely as its head, who has some fundraising experience, at least at a college level when he was in college at Harvard University. I, as principal, when he was appointed, showed him the ropes a little bit, talked him through a few things about what his role would be and who he needed to speak to as far as the curriculum that the foundation's goal is to provide for the students that is supplemental to their core curriculum and their more basic curriculum. And ultimately, it seemed that it was competition that drove Mr. Barely towards a raffle to make big money, because he was going up against his rival from Harvard University who beat him out for class president, Mr. Morley, who is, of course, also a president at another elementary school in the district. So although it was good that he wanted to make money, it was a little bit questionable why he wanted to make all that money. So he remembered back to his college days when they made him a lot of money off of a raffle, and he decided to go for it and had the support of the foundation, and everyone was kind of rooting for him. However, someone informed the sheriff, and an arrest was made on the site of Briardale Elementary School. Mr. Barely was arrested for a misdemeanor crime, and the foundation's reputation was tainted. So some legal and ethical issues that came up. So there was definitely harm on multiple fronts. Mr. Barely was put on probation. The foundation and the school are both looking pretty bad at this point, and the students, of course, are going to be hurting. They could potentially lose the resources necessary to provide some of that supplemental resources and curriculum that the foundation has provided in the past. There was a law that was broken, so that whatever state this is in, the state must not allow raffles as fundraisers, because it's either considered gambling, or it could be potentially that they do allow it, but the school did not, but the foundation did not obtain the necessary license to hold a raffle and did not inform the right people before they went forward with their plan. Was a contract breach? Not necessarily, unless the position as the president was contractual with the foundation, which I have my doubts that it would be. So to summarize it, the Briardale Foundation, specifically Mr. Barely, sponsored an illegal raffle to raise funds for the school with some questionable intentions as well. So again, the main people involved in this were myself as principal, who was working closely with Mr. Barely and the foundation. Mr. Morley also played a role in this. However, it was fairly small, but might have driven Mr. Barely to go for what he did. Then there was a whistleblower and the sheriff. Again, this all centered around Briardale Elementary School. The programs that were involved, again, the foundation provided that supplemental curriculum to the students, and the foundation is linked specifically to Briardale. They bear their name, Briardale Foundation. So again, we want to prioritize and look at the information. So what damage was done? Again, the students are going to probably lose that money. They didn't receive that, but who knows if they'll have time to make it up with another fundraiser. So they're going to suffer the consequences of that misendeavor. And the foundation and the school relationship could suffer if this situation is handled improperly. So the stakeholders that are going to be involved, the foundation, the students, the teachers, the parents, the principal, and the school are all going to be hurting from this misstep and this misadventure. Looking at some of the facts that I have, I do believe that you can move forward and make a decision as to what to do. However, I would like a little more information on the exact nature of the foundation and just how tied they are to the school, and whether the school at any point down the road could be found legally responsible for what occurred, since it was held on school grounds. So I'd like to know a little bit more about exactly what their relationship is. And I'd also like to know what exactly was explained to Mr. Barely when he stepped into this position. What was his orientation? I just want to know the nitty-gritty details of what exactly he was shown, and his background as well, what his background in fundraising was. So looking at some options that we could do surrounding the situation, we could allow Mr. Barley, I myself as principal could allow Mr. Barely, and the foundation to take the blame for what occurred and kind of move forward like the incident didn't occur. It was their foundation, they made the misstep. My hands are clean. Another option that I could take would be to remove Mr. Barely from the position. So if people agree, we can remove him from the position that he holds currently and replace him with a school employee, which might give a little closer ties to the principal, myself as principal, just so I could keep kind of a closer watch on that foundation and what they're doing. Another option that could be possible would be to allow the foundation to decide Mr. Barely's fate, but implement training and or some legal counsel and an approval process for future fundraising endeavors. And then the last option would be to dissolve the foundation or sever ties with it as a school, and just rely on school-sponsored fundraising only, so we don't have to get caught up in the messiness, and we can have complete control over what we're doing. So for option one, to just let them take the fall for it, I think some cons to that would be that there's no real damage control done. It was a pretty big event that hit the headlines in the newspapers, and it happened on school grounds, so it makes the school look pretty bad. So not acknowledging that situation at all, I think it would be a mistake. It accepts no responsibility and could damage the relationship with the foundation itself. It would be simple, but again, it has some shortcomings. Option two, so it could ensure more control over the foundation if we were to appoint someone that was tied directly to the school. But it could damage the relationships between the parents and the teachers and myself as principal and the school itself, and overload the employee that selected that for that position, since teachers and staff often wear many hats. And another option, again the third option we could take, would be to allow them to make the decision on what happens to Mr. Barely, so still allowing some independence of the organization, which I think is good. It would also help to ensure some alignment with laws if we implemented some kind of training, and it would also take time and resources, so that's kind of a con, that we're going to have to throw some time and money at this situation. And the last option, so if we completely cut ties with them, it would show the school took the matter very seriously, but it would definitely eliminate a significant source of funding, which I think would be harmful for the students. So looking at these options, I think the option 3 would be the best option. So it would still allow the foundation members to decide what is best regarding Mr. Barely, so still allowing them to operate as an independent organization. But I think it would be absolutely necessary to work together to implement a district-wide initiative to train staff and volunteers. So working together as a district to ensure that our district is abiding by the law. And hopefully, like I mentioned before, it's going to involve some legal counsel, or at least consulting some fundraising experts. And again, coming up with an approval process to hopefully create some checks and balances where this situation is not going to arise again. So the why behind it, again, I think that fundraising should be equitable for students. I've never been in a district that large, but to me, it would make more sense if they were working together to generate funds for their schools. If they are a united school district, they should probably be working together. So it would make sense to me if the fundraising was put top down and was distributed through the district. That way we could ensure that it's equitable for all the students in the district. However, if they are going to keep it structured the way that they do, where each school is kind of fundraising supplemental funds, I think it would be great to work together with other schools rather than so much compete with them, and maybe bounce some ideas off. That way we're all working for the good of the students. So again, I think the current situation promotes unhealthy competition, and it would be more beneficial to take it from the top down. This option would, again, hopefully prevent future debacles like this from occurring and help those in charge navigate the murky waters of fundraising, because there are so many technicalities and legalities surrounding fundraising. It would be great to have some kind of checks and balance system in place in order to create circumstances that are always going to be in the best interest of the students. Maybe we have somewhat good intentions behind it, but we always have to make sure that we're going to do it by the book. So implementing this decision, so my first step again would be to publicly address the incident and give some kind of explanation, not necessarily taking sole responsibility for it, but again, I think if it happened on school grounds, you need to provide the community and stakeholders with some explanation of how this occurred. I would consult with my superintendent and develop some policies and procedures necessary that are necessary when surrounding the fundraising practices that are going to be occurring at schools. So if they're not already in place, or if they are in place, then we need to review them and to beef them up a little bit. Again, I'm going to meet with some organizational leaders, so the people that are in charge of the foundations, principals, building leadership, things like that, and organize some kind of in-depth training and seek legal counsel if necessary. So to train teachers and parents on these are the steps that we need to take to keep our fundraising legal. And then lastly, I'm going to implement an approval process in at least at my building level. I don't know about the rest of the district. Hopefully it's district-wide, but at least at my building level, I'm going to implement an approval process so that there are some checks and balances in place to help eliminate other potentially harmful incidents, especially since this foundation is so closely tied to the school, even by name. So that is my case study summary. Thank you for watching my video.